Awesome.
Okay, this is what life insurance can do for your business. And if we go to the second slide, a little bit about who we are. We are the Shasta-Cascade Small Business Development Center. My name is David Walker. I'm director of the center here. We're located in Redding, California, and our particular center uh, handles Shasta and Trinity County. And when we say that, we wonder, what do you mean you handle it? What do you do? Well, this is what we do. We provide confidential, no-cost advisory and training services to small businesses. SBDCs are funded by your tax dollars, the Small Business Administration, and in our case, the state of California, to do these things, to help small businesses be successful. And if you're not in Shasta or Trinity County in California, there's an SBDC near you. There's nearly 1,000 of them across the country, covering every county in the United States. So if you decide you want some help for your small business, don't hesitate to reach out to your local SBDC. It costs you nothing. Actually, you paid for it with your tax dollars, so you might as well get what you paid for, right? And this particular session is also promoted by the Better Business Bureau of Northeast California. So they're a sponsor of this particular session as well, and we want to thank them for helping us out with that. So let's look at the next slide, if we can. Yeah, this is a picture of the advisors for our team here in Shasta and Trinity County. We've even got a guy that's a cartoon who sprouted wings. I can't get, that's Joseph Dorco, and I cannot get him to send us a real picture. But these are some of the advisors we have. These are the ones that work locally most often with our team in Shasta and Trinity counties. But there are an additional 4 dozen or so throughout Northern California, each with expertise in one area or another of business. We have people that have worked in human resources all their lives, people that have worked in engineering, people that have done nothing but investments for companies, accounting, QuickBooks, just about everything you can imagine. So if we don't have the expertise here, we can get the expertise to you, more than likely. So feel free to reach out. If, like I said, if you're in Shasta or Trinity counties, you'll reach out to our office. If you're somewhere else in the U.S., you'll reach out to your local office. And then we have, on the next slide, we have a disclaimer. This is what happens when you get lawyers involved. I'm obligated to read this to you, so bear with me. I've gotten pretty good at it, so we'll see how fast we can get through it. The information provided in this webinar and any supplementary materials provided to registrants are intended for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute professional, financial, or legal advice. No registrant should act or fail to act on the basis of any material contained in this webinar without obtaining proper financial, legal, or other professional advice specific to their situation. The Northern California Small Business Development Center and its host, the HSU Sponsored Programs Foundation, specifically disclaims any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence, directly or indirectly, of the use and application of any of the information presented in this webinar. So there. Okay. And at this time, our speaker today is Harrison Payne. He's an independent insurance agent and an expert in this area. And at this point, I'm going to turn the rest of this over to Harrison. All yours, buddy.
Good morning, everybody. So we've carved out about an hour for all this, but I don't think it's going to take that long. So in between all of these slides and everything, if anybody has any questions, feel free to raise your hand via the Zoom icon on there, and I can kind of get those answered. We can have an open discussion during all of these things. So a little bit about my background. I have 3 years of experience in life and commercial insurance industry. I'm licensed in life, accident, health, and property and casualty insurance. So my start to this career was I started with one of the biggest Allstate agencies in the Northern California area. So we were responsible for servicing a pretty good portion of Northern California's Allstate clients. So I've owned a small detailing company for 2 years. I'm also currently a part of two other startup businesses. So in my day-to-day life, I'm also not just thinking about how I can help business owners and with insurance, but I'm also, you know, actively engaging in those same problems that you're facing. I'm active in the local community and I attend Reading Chamber of Commerce, BNI groups. I'm actually a part of the leadership team with the local BNI group, and I'm now part of the Shasta Board of Realtors Affiliate Committee. Let's go to the next slide here. So for today's agenda, kind of what I want everybody to think about is, life insurance can obviously be a great tool for a lot of businesses, but I want you to think about, can life insurance benefit your business specifically? So there's four main things we're going to cover. One is buy-sell agreements, key person insurance. There's executive bonus plans. This is oftentimes referred to as the golden handcuffs. And then collateral assignments. So there we go. So the first thing here is buy-sell agreements. So this is an interesting thing that can really help your business. So buy-sell agreement basically is mainly for business partners, and it's going to cover a partner if the other partner in the business were to die, so they got into a car wreck, and it's going to help the surviving business partner be able to avoid having to fall back on the other business partner's family, or take a bunch of equity out of the business to have to buy out that business share from the family so that they can actively just control the business. So how this works is, obviously consult with the business attorney on this as well, but you take out a legal contract, you use life insurance in that buy-sell agreement, and you kind of think about what you would, how much you would want to cover. So, how much would it cost to buy out that other partner's side of the business? So that's kind of how you work out the pricing. So overall, just make sure you have funds to buy out the family. It avoids you or, the other business example or business partner, for example, having to fall back on each other's family. So consult with the Small Business Development Center if you have any questions on how to get into that. Also talk to your business attorneys as well. So the next thing is key person insurance. So key person insurance is mainly to kind of keep your business afloat if something were to happen to a key employee that you really, really rely on. For example, in Reading, if you own a five-star restaurant and you have a five-star chef, if your five-star chef gets into a car wreck one day and dies, that's obviously going to put an immense strain on your business. You're not going to be able to make food, or you're not going to be able to produce at the same quality. So all of a sudden, instead of you having to hire locally due to cost reasons for your business, if you had a lump sum of even a couple $100,000, you can start hiring nationally, and you can also use that business or that money to keep the business afloat while you're losing revenue while you don't have a chef. So, you could also use it for sign-on bonuses. It just makes everything immensely more easy when you're already facing a difficult time, and it just kind of keeps you sane. So the third thing here is executive bonus plan. So executive bonus plans aren't going to be life insurance on you as the business owner. They're going to be a life insurance plan for that employee. It's going to help with employee retention because you're going to be a little bit more competitive on the market because you're able to supply benefits to that employee. So if you have an employee that's a construction foreman, for example, and you really rely on that employee. If that construction foreman were to quit one day just out of frustration, obviously that could be extremely damaging to your business. But if you had a life insurance plan in place for that construction foreman, and he knew that while he's on the job and he's facing all the dangers that that job presents, and he had coverage for his family, well, he's going to be a lot more likely to stick around through the frustration of the job. So it helps you stay competitive with other employers. It's life insurance in the form of employee benefits. Again, if you have questions on that and the different types of benefits available within that, because there's a lot of nuance to this, talk to your life insurance agent. Talk to a professional like me, or reach out to the Small Business Development Center so they can kind of get you plugged in with resources. Does anybody have any questions so far?
I don't see any at the moment, but there is one privately here. Can a business owner borrow against the cash value of, I'm assuming, key man insurance for the business? Or is that possible, or how does that work, or can it work?
Again, so you're asking for key person insurance if they can borrow against that that policy on the employee.
Right.
That's a good question. If you're the owner of that policy, I believe you'd be able to. Again, that kind of falls within company guidelines. So that would have to be a little bit more of an in-depth conversation. I would recommend talking to your agent on that one, because there's some nuance there that you'd have to be aware of.
Okay, so it probably varies from policy to policy.
It definitely can vary from policy to policy. So there's also many different types of life insurance. Again, that's something that, there's whole life, there's universal life. Each policy has its own purpose. So that's it's something to think about, when you're having these life insurance policies or when you're getting them for businesses. That's another whole conversation of itself, is what kind of life insurance do you need? Do you need it forever? Do you need it for a specific amount of time? Those are all questions that really the answer is totally dependent on your business structure and your needs alone. So, any other questions?
Hey, is there any, if you're talking about life insurance for key employees, are they, in terms of, is that considered deferred compensation then? I missed that if you mentioned it. I mean, is that something, because well, okay. Is it something that that would be a benefit to the employee, or would it just strictly be a benefit to the company? Because if it's a benefit to the employee, does the employee then have any taxable issues, I guess?
That's a really good question. So the way to look at it, the executive bonus plan is going to be more for the employee. The key person insurance is going to be on it's going to be life insurance taken out on the employee, but the beneficiary is going to be the company. So usually that's something that, obviously the company's paying for that, and that they'd get the funds if something were to happen to that employee. So the executive bonus plan, that's something that's a little bit more, that one's for the employee. Money would go to the employee, or the employee's family. If you had some sort of a claim, or if they wanted to take money out of the cash value. So that's kind of the difference there. That's how you can think about it. They're both plans that are contingent on if something were to happen to that employee, but the bonus plan is benefiting more the employee, and the key person insurance is going to benefit the employer. That's how you can kind of differentiate there. Any other questions?
Okay, I've turned off the, you should be able to unmute yourselves if you have a question for Harrison. So go ahead and do that if you'd like.
Awesome. Well, we will continue. So this one is called collateral assignment. So this is a interesting one. This is kind of, if you have, if you're a business owner, maybe you have a partnership, or maybe you're a sole proprietor, or you're incorporated, I don't know. But there's multiple ways to have a business, so if you're taking out a business loan to buy a, to buy a landscaping business, for example, well, that's not really something that you are really selling any sort of tangible goods. So if something were to happen to the business owner himself, there's not going to be a whole lot of ways that business can continue. There's not really products or services, there's not really products that you're selling. So it's all service-based. So you're going to want some money coming in for that business owner. It basically just helps keep your family out of debt if something were to happen to the business owner. So rather than the family having to take over the business and then try to really keep things running and try to keep everybody moving, for example, if you need $500,000 to cover a loan, well, now you have that life insurance policy that's used as collateral assignment, and it can cover the amount of that loan. So it's kind of a similar concept to a buy-sell agreement, but it's used more to pay off debt instead of buying out the partner's share. Does that make sense to everybody? Awesome. All right, so that's about all we had planned on the agenda for today. Again, there's a lot of nuance to that. So, those nuances might require additional conversation. But do you guys have any sort of questions for me right now?
Suzanne is asking, how does age come into play?
That is a really good question. So every company is different with the ages that they'll accept. Usually life insurance is based mainly on your current health, your age, and then your health background, meaning, your medical history. So it would affect costs, but, if you're somebody that's a little bit older, it doesn't mean that you wouldn't be, or that you would be ineligible for a policy. You just might be paying out a little bit more. So that's kind of something to think about. There are the same underwriting questions and the same eligibility requirements with life insurance used for business as just normal life insurance in general. Any other questions?
We have a question. What insurance do you recommend for online sellers? I'm planning to sell bags, apparel, and home decors, and I have a single member LLC.
Can you repeat that one more time? I didn't quite hear all that.
What insurance do you recommend for online sellers? I'm planning to sell bags, apparel, and home decor. I have a single member LLC.
Gotcha. Well, my first question would be, you would have to think about what the impact would be and kind of the purpose for that. So would you be using it to keep your family out of debt? Do you have would you be using it for supplemental retirements or supplemental benefits for yourself? I mean, what would your need be with that life insurance?
Okay. She's looking at general liability.
For general liability, oh, you would just need a
Yeah.
general liability policy. So,
Okay.
I would recommend, again, follow-up conversation with an insurance agent. Or again, I'm sure, Small Business Development Center has resources for that. But yeah, usually for uh, just your own personal liability, a general liability policy would be the thing that covers that. And that's more of just a standard commercial insurance policy that's written quite a bit. So.
Okay. Don't see any more in the chat at the moment. Okay, well, like we said, you'll have a small business development center near you, and obviously independent insurance agents are going to be everywhere as well. So if you do have questions that come up about this topic, feel free to contact them. This is the contact information for our local SBDC in Shasta and Trinity counties. And this is Harrison's information. Feel free to contact Harrison as well. He obviously knows his stuff. And, we as far as the SBDC goes, we encourage you to contact the SBDC that's local to you. If you want to contact us directly, we'll do what we can, and we'll help you find an SBDC near you. And I'm sure even if you're in, I don't know, Indiana, I'm sure Harrison would be happy to answer your questions as well. So,
Of course, or at least
yeah,
point you in the right direction.
yeah. So, anything else?
Well, I think I'm all good for right now. And
Okay.
if anybody has any questions, and you're not sure where to go after this, I know sometimes think about it after the fact. Feel free to reach out to us. I have my email up here, harrison.kval@farmersagency.com. You can also call our office line, or we also have texting capabilities on that same number. So check us out on social media. If you're curious about anything, or you just need resources, you can always give me a call. Again, I'm not going to try to sell you on anything. I'm more passionate about helping business owners out and educating people. And if it's not something that I have a full understanding of quite yet, or I maybe don't have a lot of experience with, I can usually point you in the right direction and kind of tell you the type of person you might want to talk to on things. So.
Okay. I just put a link in the chat. Ignore the first link. I'm not sure what that is, the really, really long one. Ignore that one. Take a look at the second one. That's the survey. And we'd appreciate it if you would click on that link when you have a moment. We'll also email you the link. Let us know if there are other webinars that you would have an interest in hearing. Let us know how we did. We have a thick skin. We can take it. It's how we improve and how we figure out what it is you guys need and what topics you might be interested in. So please do that. And like I said, we'll be emailing you copies of these slides. This will include Harrison's contact information. And we'll also send you a link to the recording. So unless there's anything else, I think we can cut this off early. And if you told your boss that you're taking an hour to do this webinar, you have a half hour to fool around.
If you take the hour anyways, we won't tell anybody.
There you go. All right. Well,
All right,
thank you,
everybody.
Harrison. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, David. I appreciate you bringing me on here.
All right. Well, take care, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.